Hey folks, welcome back to the Portable Gamer, welcome back to European Truck Simulator 2, and welcome back to Klagenfurt, Austria. Hey, guess what I figured out? I figured out how to make skins. I got the MS2 app working. Took a minute. We'll talk about that a little bit as we get rolling, but spin around, let you see this from some various sides and or angles. Yeah, it all worked out. And I believe we've got the metal flake and UV layer, I don't know, the problems that I was having. I think we got all that sorted out. I think we did. When I build a skin, I tend to throw everything at it for V1. I'll go through and peel some of these things out, some of these various elements. I'll peel them out until it looks nice and right and balanced. But for now, yeah, that's what we got. So we're going to pick up, I forgot already. But we're going to pick up something and we're going to take it to Salzburg. Yeah, that sounds about right. Brakes off, put her in gear, lift axle is up, here we go. So yeah, it's Saturday for me, it's Sunday for you. I normally record in the morning. It is evening, Saturday evening, getting ready to start my weekend proper, as you do. And yeah, it's been a pretty good week for me. It's been a good gaming week. I'm really pleased that I did get this skin thing sorted out. I had sort of given up on that MS2 app. And there was no reason to give up on it because it's an app that people use to make skins, and it's constantly being updated. So if it was that broken, if it, you know what I mean, if it didn't work at all, they wouldn't be working on it. Or if they did, they'd be working on it differently. They'd be working on it to fix it and make it work at all. They wouldn't be continuing to tune it and tweak it. So of course it worked. I just couldn't get it working. But I sat down and just hammered on it. It took me hours and hours of trial and error, but I finally did get everything sorted out. So super pleased about that. And we'll be able to use that in ATS as well and for trailers. And it's nice to see that everything is sort of now finally combined into one tool, because before it was kind of I don't know, there were a few things over here and a few things over there, and if you could put all of them together, you could get it working. But this has trailers now, and this new Actros it does have accessories on it. It's got the Actros tuning pack, and it's an old truck, so it's not the MAN Euro 6, the TGX Euro 6, the new Scania, and the Renault T are all advanced models by SCS, like by their, I don't know, their ranking system or whatever. Those are new, and so they're advanced and they're put together a different way. These older trucks are not advanced. Go figure. Hang on, let's do this first, and I'll keep talking at you. So we go here, and we're taking chocolate. Makes perfect sense. Taking chocolate to Salzburg, as you do. So we'll hop out here, back in gear, and flip this thing around. So the accessories were not included. Those new advanced trucks, the accessories are separate, and on the older trucks, everything just reads off of one image file. But then when you get the tuning pack going, it's sort of a hybrid, I guess is the best way to describe it. They are accessories. They do read from a separate image file, or they want to. And if they can't, they'll just read from the default image file. And so they were the accessories, things like, let me see if I can get in here. Yeah, the sun shield up top, the little stone guard down below, the fancy bumper in the back, all that stuff. That was essentially, it was loading the entire image file that I had for the whole rest of the truck and jamming all of that into one very small area. It's an error. It's obviously an error, but that's just sort of what it defaults to. But there is a workaround for that. I went on the MS2 Discord, and they were super cool and super helpful. So if you're wanting to skin, grab yourself MS2. Just do a search for ETS2 MS2 or Mod Studio 2, and within the tutorial and the notes for that is an active link to their Discord. Holy smokes, we just got that in one. Impossible, you say? Well, unlikely, but we did do it. All right, let's load up. So, we good to go? Beautiful, and it looks like the sun might be going down too. Always nice to drive around sunset. Back in here, put her back in gear, brake is off, lift axle is down. Here we go. So yeah, that'll be cool to get some ATS skins going as well. I know some of the last ATS skins that I made as they were transitioning to some of the new graphics upgrades in DX11 and various other things. My old skins that I made that don't have, I guess, a UV layer, anytime a cloud goes in front of the sun, they just go flat and dead and sort of purple. Not cool. Not cool. But that is something that I think will be addressed because we do have... What's that sound? All right. Because we do have a UV layer now, I think everything will be fixed, for lack of a better word. So, very happy about that. Happy I sorted out metal flake, metallic. It's been a good day. And I'm trying to think what else is going on. No real news yet on Iberia and Idaho and Colorado, but they'll be here when they get here. We do have 1.37 to play with on both the ATS and the ETS side, so that's a good thing. And we've got, put a window up here. Put that one up first. There we go. And we'll put this other one up when we get out on the highway. So yeah, that's all that's really going on in truck world that I saw. Train Sim, there's going to be a German switching loco out in just a few days. Kind of looking forward to that. I don't know. I'm mad at Dovetail. I'm really not too pleased with Dovetail at the moment, but whatever. I'll buy that thing when it comes out. I'm a sucker that way. And what else? I saw a pre-release trailer for F1 2020. And I have to say, unless something changes radically between now and July, I am prepared to be underwhelmed. Because it looks like it's just new pajamas for 2020. And with the season being so up in the air, I think that complicates things a bit more, but I don't think F1 2020 was intended to be anything other than more or less like a $70 DLC. New pajamas, new drivers on new teams. But no, I didn't see anything in terms of announcements about graphics, announcements about physics, gameplay, tire modeling, damage, AI, nothing like that. The only thing they talked about is you will be able to start your own team now and create your own livery and have your own sponsors. I'm really curious how that will work out, because there are some big name sponsors in Formula One, obviously, but they're sort of associated with specific teams from year to year. So I'm curious how they work that. Whether, I mean, one possibility would be that they just put all the sponsors in a hat, and when you make a team, all the teams sort of generate themselves. But I don't think they would do that, because those sponsors have paid a lot of money to be involved with specific teams, and they want to remain involved with them even in a virtual world, right? Even in a virtual sim race atmosphere. They paid to be on that car. So I don't see that happening. But I also don't see dozens and dozens of just sort of random businesses suddenly being available if you build a team. I don't think it can work that way either, because FIA and FOM would need to go out, and Codemasters as well would need to go out and get all those companies involved. And it just doesn't seem worth it. And I don't think there are that many companies lining up to pay to sponsor video game cars. I just don't see that happening either. So in something like I said, of course, a Competición, I know, different developer, but when you build your livery, you don't really get a primary sponsor. You don't really get to, throw sponsors all over the car. You just get about a half a dozen to choose from, and they go up on the rear wing. And now Amazon Web Services showed up, like the last patch. They're obviously somebody signed a deal somewhere, because they are very suddenly a big part of that game. So you can have them as a sponsor as well. But I don't know what the pick your sponsor thing in F1 2020 is going to look like. I'm also curious. It says you're going to be the 11th team on the grid. Well, that's cool. I like that. But I think we're so used to seeing 20 cars in a grid, it's been that way for so many years, that I would prefer, when you build a team, that the lowest ranked team gets relegated and there's still 10 teams on the grid. Again, the reason they can't do that is those teams are a part of Formula One, and I believe, yeah, teams do pay a fee, right? You have to pay a fee to be in Formula One. So I can't see that those teams paid a fee to be in Formula One, and if they're not doing well, they just get like booted off the bottom rung of the ladder in the sim. I don't think that's a thing that a business owner or a CEO would allow to happen. You know, I paid to be a part of Formula One, all parts of it, even the virtual parts of it. I ain't going nowhere. So there will be 11 teams on the grid if you build your own team. I mean, it could be the coolest thing ever. It really could. But we'll see when it gets here. As I said, I'm ready to be underwhelmed because there's really, it doesn't seem like there's a whole lot different. And to me, that's a DLC. And I think, especially with the 2020 season being so up in the air, it really should be a DLC because we don't have any relative power rankings or power ratings for the cars and the teams yet. And we have the data from Spain, but that's it. So are they going to make all the cars equal? Are they going to go off last year? And there's some other stuff going on. FIA is letting McLaren, I believe. They're letting the 2019 rules carry over to 2020, or they're bringing in the 2021 rules now. I don't know, something's happening. But they're going to let McLaren go with Mercedes motors this year, even though they're still hooked up with another engine maker. So we'll see how all that plays out. And some of that, I mean, I guess could be brought to the sim, but I don't know if it will be. And with everything being very much up in the air, I don't know that it's that much of a priority for anybody right now. I think the big priority for FIA is to get their season going again in some way. I don't know. I mean, I was curious, and we've really been trying not to talk about coronavirus on the channel. It's got nothing to do with gaming. It's got no place here, but it's a reality, and it's part of all of our lives at the moment. I know something like the NBA, you can't play in front of an empty arena. It's just too weird. It really is. It's weird. And there've been I've seen some sports. Well, everything's closed down now, but before everything was closed down, I saw some games, people playing in empty arenas. They had wrestling in an empty arena. It's really weird and creepy and sad. I don't recommend it. But Formula One racing, I think, is a little bit different. I don't know if there would be a way. I mean, I don't think there would. There's just too many people in too small an area for there to be social distancing. But I'm thinking, like, once you get the helmet on, once you get in the car, you're more than 6 feet from each other. Well, yeah, you are. But there's a lot of other people around there. Even without a crowd, there's got to be thousands and thousands of people at a track for a race weekend. So if it was possible to do that, I'm sure FIA would have, and then they probably are, you know, trying to find a way to make that happen. Even if we do it without the crowds, let's at least get the races off so people can watch at home. So I think that's the priority for FIA right now, and they're not really worried about Codemasters in a video game, but we'll see. We'll see. And like the little German switching loco for Train Sim World, as soon as F1 2020 comes out, I'll buy it. I know, I will. So that's what's going on there. Another couple of days we'll have MotoGP 20. Same thing. I didn't really see anything in the notes to indicate that this was like a giant leap forward and that there's going to be a lot of things different. And as with Formula One, you know, the MotoGP season is suspended, postponed. So we'll see how all that works out. But I mean, it's just such an unprecedented time for everything. I think we're all just kind of feeling our way through this. So whatever happens, happens. MotoGP 19, that game, I'm comfortable saying, was just about done before this stuff went down, because I don't think they're finishing it right now to release it a couple days from now. I think it's been done for a minute. F1 2020 isn't going to be released for another 2 months. They still got a ways to go on that, and that's just the way game development works. You know, you're working on it maybe up to the last week or two, but you're not working on it, hopefully, up to the last, like, hour. So I think if I had to guess, I would say MotoGP 20 is nearer to completion than F1 2020 is. But I'm looking forward to the motorcycles. And F1, we'll see. We'll see. And other than that, yeah, there've been a lot of games. There were a lot of games that I saw last year that I wanted. There's an Alaskan truck simulator that I was curious to try. Looks like I won't be able to because I don't think it's ever going to be done. There was a firefighting simulator, fire truck simulator more than anything else. It looked like it was going to be similar to Euro Truck in that the trucks themselves, the fire trucks themselves, were going to be like, super detailed, modeled 3D, right? Like Forza. I haven't seen any progress on that. Dead Stick still looks like it's kind of stagnant, to say the least, and that's an interesting dialogue to watch. Well, it's not really a dialogue anymore because the developers have stopped talking, but that's interesting to watch that go back and forth between people that have been supporting this game for a while and the developers, and wondering if it's ever going to be done. Cattle and Crops is supposed to be done. Well, it was supposed to be done this spring, and that was before everything went down. But it's also Cattle and Crops. That game was supposed to be done a couple of years ago. It's been in development for, like 5 years? So we'll see about that as well. Maybe it'll be done someday. Maybe it won't. I don't know. They wouldn't give me a refund, so I just bailed. I told them to delete my account. I ain't ever going to play your game. I got so mad at the devs. Oh, it's terrible. It wasn't just that the game is, I don't know, some kind of funny going on with Cattle and Crops. It wasn't just that. It's that it used to be Master Bytes. Hey, that's clever. It used to be Master Bytes, and now it's Master Brain Bytes, I think, is their new studio name. I mean, from a business development perspective, that's kind of a red flag right there. If a client called me in and they wanted to, get a proposal and talk business and that sort of thing, what's your company name? We call ourselves Master Bytes. Yeah. I don't know if you're taking this seriously. So that was the initial name that crew went with. I believe they're Master Brain Bytes now. But like a lot of developers, they turned their front row of customer service. They turned it over to the mods on the forum, and the mods on the forum tend to be fanboys and they tend to be white knights, and that's not necessarily how you want customers that are having a problem to be greeted. Fanboys and white knights don't always, you know what I mean? Yeah, they don't always. And I ran afoul of a couple of those and reached out to the developers, and they weren't able to sort me out, so I told them just delete my account. Done with you. I'll never play your game. And what else are we waiting for this spring? Nothing. I mean, there's some stuff in shooter world. There's some FPS stuff. There's some here and there stuff, but that's not really anything that I'm into right now. I'm focused mainly on sim gaming. And did I just yawn? Did I just hear my first yawn? I think I did. Oh, brakes. Oh, brakes. God, I've got my braking intensity turned all the way down, almost off. And you can really feel it. Here we go. I've been racing. I've been spending a lot of time in Dirt Rally 2.0. That's such a cool game. It really is. And I'm really enjoying that Colin McRae pack. I'm not so much into the Subarus. That's never been my brand. But I really do like the stages that they have in Scotland. It's kind of a hybrid between like Poland and Wales. It's got the wide open sort of feel of Poland, but it's got a lot of the mud and in and out of forests and in and out of light to dark and visibility and that sort of thing like Wales has. So really enjoying that. And I did get my handbrake hooked up. Well, it's not a handbrake. I configured a flight stick to use as a handbrake. I've never done that before. And I mean, initially when I started playing Dirt Rally and Dirt 4, I was on a gamepad, and I found the handbrake function when it's on off like that, right, when you're controlling it with a button, I found it to be it was too much. It was too difficult to control. So I just got in the habit of driving the car with no handbrake. And I know that means I need to overbrake a little bit. You know, I can't kick the car out and really gun it out of a hairpin like you can when you can use the handbrake. I knew I was losing a little bit of time, but I was okay with that. And I preferred it to using a binary button handbrake like you would have on a gamepad. When I got on the wheel, I did configure the handbrake to a button, but I never used it because I turned the wheel so much. I mean, it's a rally game. You're spinning the wheel all over the place. The button wasn't always where I needed it to be. I know what some people will do is configure the handbrake to one of their shifter paddles, but now I got problems because I don't have any way to shift, and I don't like going automatic. And that's also a binary button. That's an on-off function for the handbrake. So I just got used to it, you know, just got used to running without it. And I was looking at my flight stick, which is right where a handbrake would be next to my wheel, which is mounted on my desk. And I thought, well, why not? And I didn't know how complicated it would be to configure it. And when I went into the input panel, my wheel is already selected as my primary steering device. And I was a little bit concerned because I could see my flight stick, and I thought, well, if I click that, it's going to make that my primary steering device. And now we're going to accelerate the car by pushing forward on the stick, and we're going to lose our settings and our force feedback, and it's just going to be a mess. Ugh. But whatever, I'll give it a try. So I click on my flight stick, and it says, what do you want this to be? Well, I want it to be a handbrake. So I go to the handbrake tab, I click it, and that's it. It more or less configured itself. I set the dead zone and the saturation, selected the axis, and boom, good to go. And it absolutely makes such a difference having that analog throw on the handbrake and just being able to, you know, on a long sweeping kind of turn that's tightening, right? Just set the back end out a little bit, and on a hairpin, right, you throw it out like 90 degrees, and it's all, you know, how much handbrake you apply. So that's been super cool. Really enjoyed that, getting that hooked up. And what was the other? I've been in race room a lot. I've been in older cars, been in Group 5, and I've been exploring some of these tracks that I don't know. A lot of, I mean, I wouldn't necessarily call them local tracks, but, you know, tracks in Germany that are specific for national racing. They're not used for like international sports car racing and that kind of stuff. So they're bigger than local tracks, but they're not necessarily tracks that we know, right, as sim racers, as video game racers. There are so many tracks that we know. We know Suzuki, we know Monza, right? We just know those tracks because we've been driving on them for years and years and years. So there's some smaller, more regional tracks, I guess, national tracks that I don't know at all. I got to learn from scratch. And that's something that I really like about Race Room, is it does have a ton of tracks that you've never been on, and you got to learn them. And they're really well rendered. They're great tracks. They're fun to drive on. They're very, very challenging. And because they're not, I mean, I feel like any track that is able to hold a certification for an F1 race is going to be kind of bigger and wide open, you know, with the exception of places like Monaco and Hungaroring and some other, you know, pretty tight tracks. For the most part, F1 cars are so fast now that those tracks are just going to be bigger. And I think we should pull in up here and sleep. Yeah, I think we should. And this, whoa, don't flip it. Okay, so we're going to make a right here, and then we're going to make a left back to that little place to sleep. Okay, let's do it. What was I talking about? What was I upset about? F1 tracks. Right. So some of those smaller tracks, some of those regional tracks are... Really? All right. I feel like they're a lot better suited to sports cars and to older sports cars. You know, they really lend themselves to that style of car, that type of driving. Very, very cool. So that's something great about Race Room. There's a lot of great things about Race Room. There are a lot of things to like about that sim, and I like most of them. And I'm trying to think what else. Yeah, I dip into Project Cars 2 now and then. I feel very conflicted because it is more of a game than a sim, but it's a really cool game. It's oh, you know what? This is, I believe, oh, we're having all kinds of problems here. We're falling asleep, and this place that I saw on the map to turn into here, where we could catch a snooze. I think this is the mine, right? It's not even a mine. It's like a damn quarry. We're at 26, almost 27 minutes. Let's head down. Oh God, this is terrible. Let's head down into the quarry and get some sleep. I mean, if SCS wants to make it so that the quarry is not available unless you're picking up a quarry job, then I won't sleep there. But if we can get down in here to sleep, I gotta take advantage of that. Okay, so we'll head down. Oh, this brings back some memories. When I first started playing this game, one of my first missions was to come up out of a quarry in like Scotland or someplace, and I could not for the life of me get out. And this was like 1.24, maybe 1.25. I just could not get out. So yeah, this is taking me back, and this is going to take us to almost exactly 30 minutes. So I'll go ahead and drive into Salzburg off camera, and next episode will be a little further down the road, and we'll go from Salzburg to wherever. All right, and I believe we can flip this around and pull into that space right over there heading uphill. I would rather be heading uphill than downhill. All right. So we flip around here. Right, like so. Yep. I think that'll do it. All right, so we're going to get down to neutral. We'll set the brake. We'll put the parking lights on. We'll lower the windows. Ah. Oh, you know what? We didn't get the dialogue yet. Hang on. We're not quite done yet. Hang on. I'm getting ahead of myself. Let's get the dialogue. And make sure we can sleep. There it is. All right. Nope, that's not the dialogue. That's the you're falling asleep notice. Where's our dialogue? Is it out here more? I mean, the sign is right there. Oh no, this is going from bad to worse. Where is it? It says it's behind us. All right, let's flip around again and see if we can get in there. Oh, and in the meantime, we are just paying these fines. All right. I know there's another one down low that we can get to. Oh, this is a terrible episode. This is terrible. All right. So the sign is right there, and it says it's right in front of us. But we didn't get the box. Another one. All right. It's got to be here somewhere. You know what? I'm gonna have to find it off camera because we're out of time. That's 29 minutes. We're out of time. I'll find it off camera. Lights, parking lights on. Set the brake. Engine off. God, man, what an episode, folks. There you have it. Thanks for stopping back to check out the Portable Gamer. Thanks for joining us for another episode of European Truck Simulator 2. We'll see you next time. Take care now.